What's up, everybody? It's your boy GQ, and I'm joined once again by Boulevard, and we are your hosts at Live from the Bench. Today, we're going to give you some good shit. You know, the shit that we always say is good, and we're going to discuss a topic that kind of got me and my feelings a little bit. Me and Boulevard are both former football players, um, and we do a little coaching here and there. And one thing is certain, we believe that when it comes down to athletes always need the best people in front of them to develop them and coach them up. However, I feel like there's two coaching hires on the college level that I don't agree with. And before I get into it, I want to make sure that everybody understands that these two individuals that I'm going to discuss on this show, I'm big fans of. They both played for the Eagles. You know, here on this show, we are Eagles fans. So I want to make sure y'all know that I support these guys. I'm glad that they're out making their paper and they're getting the opportunity to prove themselves. But you know, at the end of the day, I still have my opinion on the subject, and I'm not going to hold off on it. And the people I'm talking about is the recent hires at Norfolk State and Delaware State, Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick. Both of these young men, they're moving up in the world. They got head coaching positions. Um, However, I disagree with those hires, and I'm gonna explain to y'all why. When it comes down to players at the college level, these players are trying to get to the next level, which is the pro to get to the pro circle. Now, I understand that since NIL came into the picture, that kind of ruined it. I personally believe that bringing in the NIL kind of ruined the whole incentives of going over to the NFL because I'm already getting paid. Why do I need to go? You know, so it kind of does take certain things away from it. I think the whole giving players money for playing the game, they did it the wrong way. They went about it the wrong way, and I feel like the whole idea behind it is dead. But when it comes down to like college level, you want to make sure you got coaches that can actually coach these guys, mentor these guys, and can actually develop them. Now, I understand the reason why Norfolk State and Delaware State have probably made these decisions, but just from a perspective of just looking at it from the developmental side, I don't think it's a good idea. And here's the thing: is like I feel like there's way too many good coaches out there that will overlook. If you're looking at these HBCUs that are looking for a prominent black coach to come in and not only give you recruiting numbers and actually develop players, and you can actually have a chance at winning football, you got guys like Eric Bieniemy. I
Eric
mean,
Bieniemy doesn't want to stay in college. Eric
but
Bieniemy damn sure doesn't want to coach at low as Norfolk State or low as MEAC conference. No, that's not even D1. Like it's not even D1 we're talking about here, or FBS, FCS, whatever they call it now. It's not even that level. We're talking about MEAC. These are HBCU schools. These schools, these kids, these people. It's not necessarily their experience. It's more the fact. It's a lot of the fact is that they're a brand name, because a brand name can walk into a meeting with alumnus, shake their hands. They're more inclined to give them like, "Hey, I watched you play. I was an Eagles fan. Go Birds!" All that good shit. That gets more money into the program. That means players that want to come play there, who probably aren't really top prospects or even 3-4 stars. These are kids that just want to play for the love of the game. They're not aspiring to go pro. They're aspiring to graduate and go pro in something other than sports, to quote the old tagline. That's not. This is about bringing revenue in, that these kids can actually have a decent football team. It won't be like the situation down where Ed Reed was, where like there was just no real. It was a terrible situation. I can't recall the exact details, but some of these football teams have fallen into like disrepair. They need to be built back up. They need income. They need new fields. They need new lights. They need new seats. They need a new gym. Like all these things, they need revenue because these kids are going to come play there because they love to play football, but they're not there to play football. They're there to get an education. Football is just a fun thing on the side. They're like, it's good for the game because it's good for the schools. It's not good. I mean, not necessarily this class that's graduating this year, but the class next year, the year after that. Yeah, it's good for them. And as far as experience, these were professional athletes.
Yes.
They like you just saw what Bridgewater just did. He just walked into a high school and won a championship and walked back out. Now he's going to play for the Lions. These kids, these people know what the hell they're doing. I would trust Deshaun Jackson to, if I was like, here, this is my son, teach him to play football. I would trust Deshaun Jackson with that. Maybe not Deshaun Jackson of like 2005 or whenever, because that was a young, immature motherfucker. This is a 40-plus grown man with grays in his face. I would trust this man. He has the experience. I would trust Vic. Vic has the experience. Yeah, I know Vic served his time, but he served his time. To me, like, you see the turnaround with Colorado. You see the turnaround with Jackson State. This, at best, will be more of like another Jackson State situation where, like, hey, they can raise revenue, which can help everything. Rising tide lifts all boats. That's how it should be in these colleges. You know, shake hands, kiss babies, all that good stuff. Yes, it's good for the schools and it's good for the players because maybe these players can get a little hand in paying off school. Maybe some of this can go to them in a grant or something of that nature. Who's to say? But I mean, there's no situation where it harms the player. You get someone who's been there, who's like, yeah, my coach played in pros. That sounds a lot better than my coach peaked in high school, won 3 championships in high school in North Carolina. Now he's coaching there.
Damn.
Like, no, I mean, this carries way more weight to say Mike Vick is my head coach. Deshaun Jackson is my head coach because we all know what they did.
Absolutely.
You have your opinions, personality-wise, on who they are as a person, but you're basing this on just perceptions of who you think they are.
Absolutely.
Like I would trust Jackson to lead my son on the field every Saturday. I would trust Mike Vick to lead my son on the field every Saturday.
But here's
no negatives.
But I think I'm looking at it from a negative spot because I'm a coach that looks at it from developmental side. Because yes, Deshaun Jackson, Michael Vick, all stars, great at what they did for a short period of time. I mean, not necessarily a short period of time because they did it for many years longer. Yeah, I mean, they've done it. Mm-hmm. But I mean, because now I've seen Vic, he's sat on the sideline and coached for a while. I can give him some level of credit on the coaching angle, but I really, because my thing is like, has Deshaun Jackson ever been known as a locker room leader? Because I understand 100% why the university would say we need the brand name to it. But if I'm a dad and my child wants to go, he's saying I have NFL aspirations.
My son's a wide receiver. You really shouldn't be looking at one of these low-level schools because they're not looking that hard at those low-level schools. You really have to stand out to be on the NFL's radar.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But
like a MEAC conference.
Period. But that's what I'm saying. Because you got with Jackson State, Prime brought something that they were like, people, for some reason, like you can look at Prime the way Deion Sanders came in versus what Deshaun Jackson. It's like when you put those two names together, it's like one is like that much bigger than the other. Yeah. And it's like you'll probably like Prime was able to snatch away big time recruits like Travis Hunter. Like Travis Hunter was committed somewhere else
Yeah,
And
and
he was
that's like a once in a lifetime shot
Yeah,
that you're going to get the number one player. That's not going to happen every time. Like that was a
no,
once in a thousand shot.
but not but prime, but the Dion and this is my thing. I know I'm sounding like it's all negative because I have to look at it from the negative spot. I have to.
And that number one player won the Heisman with Dion.
Yeah,
Cheer.
yeah,
So I mean, it was a successful.
that was a success, and
He
I'm
got it. Yeah, he did the job.
but I would love to see that happen here, but at the same time, like Dion could probably coach a defensive backup. I'm very concerned about how Deshaun Jackson can coach up a receiver that's not like him.
Why?
Because you look because for example, look at a guy like Aaron Moorhead coaching the Eagles receivers. I don't see any development past AJ and Devontae. There's a reason, like those guys
Because those are better than Aaron Moorhead ever was on his best day.
exactly. But
And this is the pros.
yeah, but
We're talking about high school kids.
true.
They're going to come in starry-eyed looking at Deshaun Jackson, who they see on TV every day talking about sports.
So from a
But then this is the same level as Dion. They don't have the Dion that we grew up with.
No, absolutely not.
They have Deshaun Jackson. They have Mike Vick. These were the heroes of their youth, which was like 2002.
Yeah,
they were born.
I agree. I agree, but just on that, because I have to point out the negatives. That's because again, I agree with you.
Your negatives is that they can't develop a player. You think Michael Vick can't develop a quarterback? He broke the mold at quarterback. He learned under Andy Reid, same as Deshaun Jackson.
At that style of quarterback play.
The people they learned under
argument.
They learned under good coaches.
Yeah. So where what I'm saying is you look at it from a perspective is let's say I'm not that kind of quarterback that Michael Vick. Are we 100% sure that he can develop a quarterback not like himself?
That's my argument. Any reason why not? And if he can't, that's what his hires are for. Doesn't necessarily mean he's taking the player on as his own personal project. He's the head coach.
So we 100% agree
his job isn't just the field.
Yes,
he's the head coach. He's the face of the franchise.
So he is basically doing what Nick Sirianni is supposed to be doing.
I don't know. I don't know what that means.
So they're like the CEO types.
College coaches, yeah. College coaches tend to be more CEO types. It's like they have to be. They have to overlook, 90 kids? And Lord knows how many coaches and people underneath them. Then you got boosters. You got the athletic director. You got the field crew. You got all sorts of little shit day to day that a head coach at that level, especially at that level, has to deal with. Because he's going to have to take on shit that, say, a D1, like an SEC coach, would never have to bother with. Because it's just not been bothered. So it's like from the ground up is what they're going to have to do here.
100%.
They're going to have to build this program into something moderately respectable. Because, what was Delaware State? 1-11 last season?
True.
And Norfolk State was 4-6, 5-7, something like that. They were both terrible teams.
Yes, absolutely. I think
so. Delaware State got shut out by Robert Morris University. It's more business. Yeah, it'll boost the program and it will make the kids better because in the long run, the amenities that come with the program, with playing for the program, will be better. And that in turn will make better athletes, better student athletes. So I don't see a negative. I could see people like, Vic went to jail. He used to fight dogs. Like that ain't
not where my thoughts are. Now, here's my thing, right?
Extra old shit. But
now, because I love it because, and I said,
you muted yourself.
Is Deshaun and Michael's opportunity to really put themselves out there as coaches, but. And this is why I argue just on it, like I in a sense, I want to say I argue for them for the sake of like this was probably not the best route, and just hear me out. Because let's say they go like Deshaun Jackson goes 3-44, as the head coach of this horrible team. We believe like they're a horrible team. They're not a good team. 3-44. Does that look bad on him as a coach?
Well,
Even though we already know it's bad.
I mean, 3 losses. I can't imagine he'd get more than a couple seasons with that. I mean, even Deion turned the team around immediately. I mean, it's so. Let me how can I put this? You were born into the 90s, so let's say what year is your what's that? 2007 for you? You class of 2007-ish, 2006, 2006, okay.
Yeah.
So let's say Michael Irvin, for instance, decided he wanted to be the head coach of Morgan State. You wanted to play football for the Bears at Morgan State. You wouldn't feel like that was a good situation for you to learn at the feet of a master? I mean, because I feel like you can find many worse coaches than a coach who's played at the highest level and succeeded.
Well, because of the type of person, if I had to choose, because of the type of player I would have. All right, now that's gonna make me sound real bad, but I would have chose somebody like Deshaun Jackson because me and him were played similar. I know that he can probably make me better in that regard because I don't know, like Michael Irvin is probably played bigger than I played. So I probably wouldn't be able to benefit from his style of.
There's no way you wouldn't be able to benefit because he knows hundreds of thousands of tips and tricks that you can't possibly imagine. True. That's the difference between a pro and like your average college coach. They've been there. They've been in the trenches. They know the tricks to succeed. They've learned all of that. They've mastered all of that to get where they are. That they can pass on. They'll bring in other experienced people who can help lead these people and bring these people's skill levels up. It's not all about one coach. I mean, it's who he brings in to help build this program. That's going to be a major factor too. It's not like Vic isn't just there to guide the quarterbacks. He's there to guide the coaches to every other position. He's the leader of these young men.
Okay.
Jackson is the leader of these young men. Yeah, I don't know from his past. Yeah, you couldn't be questionable about his work ethic or his locker room personality, but that you can also say that's some old shit.
Yeah.
That's a grown man. Like that's a grown man now. Different mentality altogether. So I remember that year. Don't ask me what year it was, but one year he basically did not bother training and spend time making an album. Deshaun Jackson did. And he went out there and I don't recall him having a great season that year. But that's regardless because that's not the person he is today.
I would agree.
And I believe he would if he saw a player doing that today, from his own experience, he would know not to let somebody do that. He would lead them the right direction because he made the mistakes. He also had the successes. He knows what it takes. Am I all in on Deshaun Jackson? Taking a 1-win team to 5 wins in the MEAC? Sure. Am I all in on Michael Vick taking a 4-win team to 6 wins? Sure. I'm all in on these teams being much better in the next 5 years than it would have been with another hire or whoever was already there.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay. I believe. I have no choice but to believe because I've seen it work already. I've also seen it not work, but even when it didn't work with like Ed Reed, I still believed it will work. I believe Warren Sapp could be a hell of a coach one day. He's doing good with the D-line over at Colorado. I believe he could be a good coach one day. He had a hell of a personality too. But that's you can get these people to follow your lead.
But that's my argument though. That's what my argument is. It's like Deshaun. He's never had he doesn't have any experience coaching prior. That's what my argument.
He coached high school last year.
Oh, he did. So see, I guess it just wasn't public. I didn't see much of it.
Retired in 2003 and spent the 2024 season as an assistant at Woodrow Wilson High School in Long Beach.
then that does change things. That changes a lot because one thing I know, like one thing I'll admit, like with me starting with the arena team, they offered me the OC position. I said absolutely not. I'm not ready. I'm not ready for it. But I mean, because it does take you got to have a certain, and that's my argument. Feel like you got to have a certain amount of experience doing something before you can just jump into it and like really take the helm. So that's big clarification. Like, and I think yes, Warren Sapp could definitely be a great coach, great head coach, great DC if he went somewhere. Because like, yes, he's done it. He was one of the best to ever do it. Just like Mike Vick and Deshaun, they were one of the best to ever do it. And like we saw Vic be quarterbacks coach and OC, so he has some level of experience coaching on the pro level. So I know he can coach. But I think my argument was just whether or not it's something that you're taking, like, could you take serious? If this was like let's say in 2 years, a head coaching position comes up at like Arkansas, is Michael Vick somebody you can consider taking that? Because that's where I want to think of it is like, is there a step up for them past this if they're not successful as football coaches? Like if the football program isn't successful, not necessarily if the cash grab in it, if that's not successful, because we already know it's a cash grab. I'm talking about the football aspect of it. Is there a path for them if they're not successful?
A path for what? They're
For
not
them
successful, then why would they keep going? They would have to move on and find a solution that worked.
So if they're not successful as the head coach here and their current teams, would you say like they can still continue to be coaches? Or would you say that
why wouldn't I want them to be coaches? I mean, they're taking on a hard situation and trying to make the best of it. If the team stays about where it is, but the players play harder, the players' GPAs are solid, and they move on and they're successful in the world, why would that be a problem?
I'm not saying
you're measuring it in terms of wins and losses. It's bigger than that. Like this is bigger than wins and losses. This is about making young men. This is about making them the best athletes they can be and the best future employees they can be.
But as head coaches, like when you look at head coaches, like what are you grading a head coach on?
At that level, at the MEAC conference, I would like you to have a winning record. I would like to have funds that I could put into the program that would boost the program to where they could bring in better players. I would like to make enough money in the program, bring in enough revenue to where I could rebuild the gym, rebuild the practice stadium. All of those things make a difference when you're talking about where 100%. Kids want to go to school. It's like there's probably a little kid down in Newport News who will see 10 years down the road the results of a new stadium built because of Vic, for instance. And that kid I want to go play in that stadium. Or some high school will get to play their championship game in that stadium. And then those kids will have fond memories of Norfolk State. Then when they want to go on into college, grad school, that sort of thing, they'll look at Norfolk State. It's not just about wins and losses at the MEAC level. For the players, it's about education. Winning isn't the only thing, is all. Now you're looking at the G1 schools, winning is the only thing.
Okay.
That's what matters. But at this level, you want them to win, but you want them to become better for your time spent with them. You want them to be the best humans they could be.
So it's all about
take a job like this at a small MEAC school, like an experienced NFL player goes to a smaller MEAC school because he sees himself, like Vic, who's from Newport News.
Absolutely.
Like he's doing this to give back his experience. Jackson's giving his experience back. because they believe that they can make better humans out of these young men, not just football players.
I like that. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no negative to it in my eyes. It's somebody who's accomplished something coming back and giving it back, giving it to another generation so that they can prosper. To me, there's no negative. Plus, there are who they are. So, as I've said before, they can just go shake hands, kiss babies, all that good stuff, bring in some more money. You know,
And money does change things for an organization.
Yes. It's not going to be an overnight thing. It's going to take a couple years. It's not going to be like
as long as nobody is trying to pad their
stars like that. Bob Stars ain't coming to Norfolk State.
No, hell no.
Bob Stars ain't coming to Coppin. They ain't coming to Morgan.
The reason why they're not is because college football 225 doesn't have those teams on the game.
Right. There's no NIL for those schools. There's no. They don't have that. They don't have a whatever you call it.
Sad. Which is horrible. It's sad. It's really sad. It's sad that guys like Michael Vick and Deshaun Jackson have to do stuff like this. Because like they have to go to the extent of something like this, because that's the only way their community is ever going to thrive, because they have to come back. Because you probably got people in the university that'll probably make, and that's what my concern is. It's like, because we've heard in the past where universities, you have people in the head of universities, like they get money from the boosters or people who bring in those like people that put the money into the schools, and it's not going where it needs to go. And that's kind of what my concern is, because I 100% believe that there's a possibility that Mike Vick and Deshaun Jackson can bring some 3 stars in.
Yeah, that's possible.
They can bring some 3 stars in, but where I fear it is those 3 stars come in, they feel like they're not getting the benefit, and then they leave. And like that's what scares me, is because not because I don't, and I also look at it because I know Michael Vick could be a good coach. I know that there's probably a possibility that Deshaun Jackson is a really good coach, and I think that's the reason I'm not hung up on them whether or not they can win. It's more of a like, because I look at it like, as a coach, do you see a future with yourself as a coach? Are you going to continue to do this and help develop players? Or are you just doing this because this university needs you to make a little money for them? Because like I feel like, yes, there's a positive, like a major positive, where Deshaun Jackson and Vic are doing some really good things for their community and helping this university make a lot of money. But then on the other side, as coaches, when you look at yourself, like you're a coach now you're in that pool of coaches now. But when you put yourself in that pool of coaches, like if it fails, you're forever going to be considered the coach that failed to win. Even if they improved the record of the team, you're still going to be looked at as the coach that failed there. So that's where my thought is. It's like, does that hurt them? That's not like, does it hurt them in the coaching pool?
No, they gave it their best effort. I mean, they'll be the next coach that failed, but they gave it their all. As long as they go out there and they try their damn best.
Okay.
That's all. I mean, that's all you can hope for at this level. I mean, there's budget issues.
It's sad.
There's player issues, there's all sorts of shit that they have to deal with that isn't on the field or on the X's and O's. There's going to be all types of shit on their plate. It's not just about film or practice. It's more than that as a head coach. And at that level, yeah, like have you seen Last Chance U, for instance?
Yes.
Did you see the way he had to be, how those coaches had to be? Because that's like the level below, right below, basically, where the PIAC is now.
Yeah, they gotta be their dads. They gotta be these young men's dads.
And that's a small piece of what they're going to have on their plate.
And that's sad. Yeah, it's really sad.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of meetings, as I said, with boosters. There's going to be a lot of chasing players around because they're not where they're supposed to be. There's going to be a lot of just nonsense that I can't even call right now. but every day there's going to be something, some crises that they're going to have to deal with. That's the nature of the beast at that level. If these players, if they can keep the graduation rate up on their players, if these players, if they have success on the field, this is a win-win. And success doesn't have to be measured in bowl games, national championships.
Oh, absolutely not. Yeah, they're not.
Yeah. So it doesn't. So success is relative. If they're better, they're better.
But what I feel like, because I don't know the numbers for graduations at those HBCUs, but
I would assume they're pretty high.
Certain that they have good numbers with graduations. I mean, HBCUs are like, people love HBCUs. Like, they just have a certain atmosphere that people just want to be at. So I feel like most of the time those young men go to, like, if I was smart enough, like, I wouldn't say smart enough, but I wasn't aware of HBCUs back in the day. If I was, I probably would have gone to an HBCU because it's one of those things where, like, they have a certain atmosphere that you don't get at regular colleges. So I feel like that's probably something that they wouldn't have to be a concern at. I do understand where they need them.
Graduation rate is 40% for Norfolk.
No way.
Yeah. And 37% at Dell State. Average student takes 4.5 years to get a bachelor's degree.
Ooh.
That's your average student, not necessarily a student athlete. I didn't get that information. Yeah.
So these teams need a lot of help.
Yeah.
Well. I got my opportunity to play devil's advocate.
You actually got a half hour out of that.
Boulevard won this one. So, ladies and gentlemen.
No, I didn't. That's not up to me. That's up to them. I mean, that's up to what Vic and Jackson do. This is not going to be settled for a few years.
I would like to see Michael Vick. Now I'm not going to play devil's advocate anymore. I'm going to talk as a fan of both of these gentlemen.
Go for it.
I would love to see both of these guys turn these teams around and see at least 10 wins for the both of them. Is it possible? Maybe. Will it happen? Probably not. But I am an optimist at heart. I would love to see.
It ain't possible. I don't even see them getting 10 wins.
I'd love to see it, but I mean, I'd love to see Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick in the NFL coaching. I'd love to see them coaching a bigger team. But at the end of the day, I would love to see HBCUs competing for bowl games. So.
Yeah, it doesn't anymore. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I know. I don't.
Like Southern Conference, MEAC Conference, WAC. You don't see those. Yeah.
Which is so confusing. I'm still going to be confused about that because it's one of those things like I remember there was a point where I understood it and then things changed and then I didn't understand it anymore. And so I don't know. But this sounded like it was a good conversation, good dialogue, good correspondence from Boulevard and myself. And I say that we got to keep looking at stuff like this. Do we want to see more of this? I think the argument goes there. We want to see more of it. Boulevard, do you have anything else you want to put out?
Yeah, let us know y'all opinions on this topic. Like, what do you think? You think they can succeed at the college level? Because me, I just want to see the graduation numbers good.
Yeah, I didn't know the graduation numbers were that
just
bad.
If they have some mild success on the field, I'm sure the players would be happy.
I would be happy. I would be really happy to see a game on TV and looking at Deshaun Jackson and Michael Vick really succeeding because they're my guys. 10-7.
Yeah, it sure sounds like they're your guys.
Listen, I have a framed Michael Vick jersey, so
okay.
I have a Michael Vick jersey. I wore a Michael Vick jersey to a game after he was benched. I didn't care. I came to the game and they was like, "You're wearing the wrong jersey," and my response was, "No, the fuck, I'm not. I don't care." I was a Vic fan. Michael Vick is the reason why I wanted to play quarterback. He was the reason the first NFL draft I've ever seen was the one when Michael Vick was drafted first overall. That is the first draft I've ever seen. And he spoke at the draft. He said, "I thought I was going to be a Charger." But yeah, so that tells you how I felt about Michael Vick. And Deshaun Jackson was the receiver who I was most played like. I loved him. I was a deep ball threat, just like him. I still think I feel like Tyreek Hill probably wore 10 to be like Deshaun Jackson. I don't know. I feel like there's a way too many guys who try to duplicate his style of play. I love Deshaun Jackson. I mean, he had a personality that was kind of volatile, but yeah, he is much mature. So here's my question. I don't know if anybody cares to see it, but now I'm curious. Do we want to see LaShawn McCoy coach the next HBCU? Would that be cool? Who
Yeah,
knows?
why not? Just to
Maybe
show Chip Kelly up.
that would be so cool.
Hmm.
We want to see
Trash,
Hank
yes,
Baskett
Chip
come back
Kelly.
and coach HBCU.
Who wants to see Chip Kelly coach an HBC?
You want to see a man ran out of a city so fast. That's how you do it. They said that
Yeah.
man's uncomfortable talking to black people, so he probably wouldn't last.
That's
very
what they
long.
say. Well, that's what
He
they
would
said.
probably have the whitest HBCU team in the world. Team be so white.
I'm sure. I mean, it's not like it don't happen.
I remember back when they used to have the HBCU Classic game. I mean, they have it every year.
Used to.
They still have it, yeah. But I remember it was always Grambling State versus Jackson State every year. For some odd reason, it was always those two teams playing in that game. It was when Doug Williams was the coach there over at Grambling. And I remember because it was the Black Football Classic. That's what it was called at that time. And I remember somebody saying HBCUs is for black players. And I'm watching this game and I see a white dude just standing on the sideline. I was like, is he a kicker? No, he wasn't the kicker. He was like a linebacker. But I was like, they can play? And that was just one of those things where, like, some people look at HBCUs as like only black people can go there. No, anybody.
It's never been the case.
It's not.
They were
like
created because black people couldn't go to those colleges. That's why they were created. It's the opposite. It's not that people weren't welcome. It was because, it's not because people weren't welcome there. It's because people weren't welcome other places. So they had to be created.
I'm gonna make a prediction. It might make you laugh, but here it is. I predict that both Delaware State and Norfolk State have better records than Temple University this year.
Seems legit. Pretty sure they did this year. At least one of them did. Let's compare. I believe Temple only won 4 games.
Jeez, so painful.
Yeah, they're consistently bad though. So I mean, it's never a surprise. Temple University Owls football. Temple made. Yeah.
Ill
Temple.
Fucking Temple University.
All right. Continue talking while I find this.
Oh, yeah. Because Temple
Never mind. 3-9. They were 3-9, 2-6 in conference. So I was close. I thought it was 4, but it was 3. This is why you double check and do everything. Yeah, that's why you check.
Boulevard, I mean, GQ doesn't do any checking and double checking. That's why he always sounds like an idiot on the show. But it's okay because Boulevard.
Yeah, that's why they don't come back.
They always come back because they like to argue with me. That's the reason they come back. Because
nobody talks to us. We don't get any traffic. Nobody cares about this damn show.
Delaware State and Norfolk State University. The Trojans. I remember back in the day they were on the game.
Okay, we're still recording, so what's going on here?
Oh, yeah. I remember when Temple was good or when they were like okay for a little while. and it was because they had a Washington quarterback.
It wasn't good then.
They won 11 games with Walter Washington.
Yeah, probably in 3 years.
He won. It was 1 year he won, or was it 10 games? And then I know the other year it was like 9. I don't know.
No,
I can't remember.
no,
They
none
had
of
like
that
a
is
nice
accurate.
little.
None
they
of
had
that
to
is accurate.
They had to have like a nice spurt
No.
of winning.
No, none of that is accurate.
Football's just that bad.
Yes, they have been for years. They have been for years. All-time record 343, 453, and 26.
It got to be a point where like they got to have put some delegation rules to something, because like when the university is that bad, and it's I mean, I guess the university itself
Oh wait,
isn't that
they
bad.
did have a few 10-win seasons. I stand corrected. They've had a few winning records over the years.
I was right about something.
Yeah. Bobby Wallace was the guy that was coaching when you were talking about when Walter Washington was there.
Yeah, he was probably
Bobby
the best
Wallace
coach.
was the head coach, and he was not very good. Like Matt Rule, they had a little bit of success with Matt Rule. They had no success really with what's that, last 5 seasons they've been in the tank. So never won more than 3 games in the last 5 years. Yeah.
Could
I was wrong.
would
Yeah,
it be
they had
cool?
10-win seasons. I stand corrected.
Would it be cool to like institute like a delegation, and is it? Do you consider it promotion in those kind of leagues? Would it be?
It would be promotion and relegation, and that probably wouldn't work in college.
No, damn, would be nice.
Mm.
That would be cool. Yeah, you're right.
That's why this last 10 minutes of this episode is a whole lot of empty air.
It is. So let's prevent any more empty air, and we say to you, we can't all be starters. So Boulevard, let them know what they can do.
Yeah, well, if y'all still listening, hit the bench. And he vanished. All right, where's the intro then? Okay, hit the bench.
Wait, what happened?